Grab a chair, pour yourself a cold drink. Welcome to Country Archive.
I would only be in your way.
Today we are counting down the 10 greatest country songs of all time.
Love is a burning thing.
Number 10. He Stopped Loving Her Today. George Jones.
Kept hoping she'd come back again.
1980. George Jones had a problem. Several, actually. He was nicknamed No-Show Jones because he missed so many concerts he'd stopped being a punchline and started being a cautionary tale.
Every single high low.
His personal life was a wreck. His record label was losing faith, and a song his producer had just handed him. Jones told Billy Sherrill it was the worst song he'd ever heard. He recorded it anyway. Reluctantly, he thought it was morbid, overwrought, too slow, too theatrical. He assumed it would disappear quietly, like dozens of other tracks he'd recorded in a fog of bad decisions.
He stopped loving her today.
He was wrong. The song entered the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart and climbed like something unstoppable. It hit number 1. It stayed there for 6 weeks. Then the awards started. CMA Single of the Year, Song of the Year, and a Grammy. Then the reviews began arriving, and critics who had spent years dismissing Jones as a relic started writing sentences like the greatest country record ever made. Rolling Stone placed it among the greatest songs of any genre. The song that George Jones called the worst thing he'd ever heard became the crowning achievement of his entire career. A masterpiece doesn't always feel like one on the way in.
Every single high low.
Number 9. I Will Always Love You. Dolly Parton, 1974.
I would only be in your way.
Before Whitney Houston ever opened her mouth, this song already had a life. 1973. Dolly Parton was 27 years old, working under the wing of Porter Wagoner, the man who had given her a national stage, a television audience, a career. And she was about to leave him. She couldn't find the words to say goodbye in person. So she wrote a song instead.
I'll think of you each step of the way.
Wagoner hated it. He threatened to sue her if she walked. She played it for him one more time, right there in his office. And something shifted. He let her go. He even produced the single. In 1974, I Will Always Love You went to number 1 on the country charts. She re-released it in 1982, and it went to number 1 again. 2 decades later, Whitney Houston's version became one of the best-selling singles in history. But it was Dolly Parton who still held the publishing rights and who walked away with millions she used to build a legacy far beyond music.
That's all I am taking.
Here's the part nobody tells you. She turned down Elvis. His management asked her to sell the publishing rights so Elvis could record it. She said no. Everybody around her thought she was making the biggest mistake of her career. She was protecting the greatest song she'd ever write, and she knew it.
I wish you love.
Number 8. Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash, 1963.
Love is a burning thing.
When June Carter played this song for her writing partner Merle Kilgore, they both had reservations. It was strange. The melody had a Latin tinge, brass horns, a sound nobody had ever heard on a country record.
Down and the flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns.
Columbia Records executives weren't sure what to do with it. Johnny Cash, who hadn't even written it, heard the demo in a dream. He woke up and told his band they were recording it exactly as he heard it in his sleep.
The ring of fire.
Trumpets included. His producers pushed back. trumpets in country music in 1963? It was borderline offensive to the format. Cash overruled them, every single one of them.
I fell in.
Ring of Fire debuted in 1963 and spent 7 weeks at #1 on the country charts. It crossed over into pop. It introduced American audiences to a sound that had no category, no precedent, no blueprint.
Ring of fire, I went down, 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 and the flames.
What makes this story remarkable isn't just the chart run, it's what the song was. June Carter wrote it about falling in love with Johnny Cash, a man she knew was dangerous, married to someone else, addicted, self-destructive. She wrote it about helplessness, about burning. She wrote the most famous love song in country music history about a man she was terrified to love. And then, he made it immortal.
The taste of love is sweet.
Number 7. Crazy, Patsy Cline, 1961.
Crazy, I'm crazy for.
The first time Patsy Cline heard Crazy, she hated it. Willie Nelson had written it. Young, broke, barely known, and he pitched it with his own scratchy, unconventional demo. Cline's producer, Owen Bradley, thought Nelson's phrasing was too complex, too jazzy, too something for a female country vocalist in 1961.
Do I let myself worry?
But there was a bigger problem. Cline had just been in a near-fatal car accident. Her ribs were broken. Her forehead was cut open. She recorded the vocals in a single session, standing sideways at the microphone because it hurt too much to face it straight on.
Crazy for crying, and I'm crazy.
The result? A performance so emotionally exposed, so technically precise while being so physically anguished that it became the most played jukebox record in history. Crazy peaked at #2 on the country charts, not even #1. And yet nothing else mattered.
Oh, crazy.
Radio stations played it until the grooves wore through. Every singer who came after her tried to match that performance. None of them did. Owen Bradley, the man who doubted it, later called it the greatest vocal performance he ever witnessed in a recording studio.
Crazy, I'm crazy for.
She recorded country music's most haunting song in physical pain, in one take, barely able to breathe, and it sounded effortless.
Crazy for thinking that.
Number 6. Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks, 1990.
I showed up in boots and ruined your blinds.
In 1990, country radio was cautious, slick, safe. Garth Brooks was not.
Because I got friends in low places where the whistle.
Friends in Low Places was written by Dwayne Blackwell and Earl Bud Lee, two songwriters who sold it to Brooks for a flat fee, having no idea what it would become. Brooks recorded it with a cocky energy that felt almost confrontational. A working-class anthem delivered by a man in a Stetson hat who seemed to genuinely not care what anyone thought. Radio program directors weren't sure about it. Too rowdy, too theatrical for a format that preferred polish.
I'll show myself to the door.
It debuted at #1 anyway. It stayed at #1 for 4 weeks. It was certified multi-platinum. It became the unofficial anthem of every honky-tonk, every tailgate, every Friday night that needed a soundtrack. It launched one of the most successful country careers in the history of the genre. Garth Brooks went on to become the best-selling solo artist in American music history.
Guess I was wrong. I just know it long then.
Ahead of Elvis, ahead of Springsteen. And somewhere, Dwayne Blackwell and Earl Bud Lee, who sold that song for a flat rate, watched it happen from a distance. The anthem of belonging, written by men who gave it away, performed by a man who gave it to everyone.
I showed up in boots and ruined your blinds.
Number 5. The Dance, Garth Brooks, 1990.
I'm glad I didn't know.
Capitol Records did not want The Dance as a single. It was too slow, too quiet. It had no hook in the traditional sense, no chorus that climbed and punched. It was a ballad, a contemplative ballad, in a format that rewarded big boots and bar anthems.
Our lives are better left to
Brooks fought for it. He had to convince his label, his team, his radio promoters. Everyone thought it was the wrong move. The song debuted on country radio in 1990 and reached number 1. It stayed there for 3 weeks. But the true turning point was the music video. Brooks, on a CRT television set, intercut with footage of Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, Lane Frost, and others who had died chasing something beautiful.
it's better left to change.
The video reframed the song entirely. It became about loss, legacy, and the terrifying worthiness of a life fully lived.
It all would go.
Radio programmers who had doubted it started calling it the most important country video ever made. It won CMA Video of the Year. It was named the number 1 country video of all time by CMT.
My hand changed it all. And now
A song Capitol Records didn't want as a single. A song about choosing love even though you know it ends. A song that made grown men pull over on the highway to cry. Garth Brooks has 2 entries on this list. There's a reason for that. Number 4. Stand By Your Man, Tammy Wynette, 1968.
Stand by your man.
When Stand By Your Man was released in 1968, it was praised, embraced, and played constantly on country radio. It hit number 1 in 2 weeks. It became the best-selling country single ever recorded by a woman.
Give him
A record that stood for decades. Then, the backlash came. Gloria Steinem called it the most degrading song ever written for a woman. Wynette was publicly criticized, debated in newspapers, discussed in college courses. Politicians invoked it. Hillary Clinton mentioned it in a 1992 television interview. And the song re-entered the cultural conversation 24 years after its release.
and if you love him.
What the critics missed, what they always missed, was that Tammy Wynette was not writing from theory. She was writing from bone-deep personal experience. A woman who grew up in poverty in rural Mississippi, who had been married young, who understood what survival in a hard marriage actually looked like from the inside.
After all, he's just a man.
She wrote it in 45 minutes, with her producer Billy Sherrill, in a single sitting. It earned her the CMA Award for Female Vocalist of the Year 3 times running. It made her the First Lady of country music. It outlasted every critic who attacked it.
Sometimes it's hard to be
45 minutes, the most debated country song of the 20th century.
that you don't understand.
Written by a woman who simply told the truth about her life and watched the world argue about it for half a century.
After all, he's just a man.
Number 3. I Can't Stop Loving You, Ray Charles, 1962. This entry breaks a rule. Ray Charles was not a country artist, which is exactly why this matters. Don Gibson wrote I Can't Stop Loving You in 1958. It was a country song, a pure, aching country song. and it charted modestly. In 1962, Ray Charles recorded it for his landmark album, Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music, a project his label, ABC Paramount, reportedly thought was commercial suicide. An R&B and jazz legend, recording a country album in 1962. In America, at the height of the civil rights movement, the album sold over 1 million copies in its first year. I Can't Stop Loving You spent 5 weeks at #1 on the pop charts, not just country. It was the #1 song in the country for 5 weeks straight. It won Charles a Grammy for Best Rhythm and Blues Recording. But here's the larger truth. The album cracked open something that American radio had kept sealed. It proved that country music was not a white genre. It was a human genre, a vessel for grief, longing, and memory that belonged to anyone willing to feel it. Ray Charles didn't cross over into country music. He reminded country music where it actually came from. Number 2, I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Hank Williams, 1949.
Hear that lonesome whistle.
Hank Williams recorded this song in 1949 as the B-side of another single. A B-side.
Lonesome whippoorwill.
An afterthought, he died 3 years later at 29 years old, in the back seat of a Cadillac somewhere between Knoxville and Canton, Ohio. He never saw what this song would become. Williams wrote, I'm so lonesome I could cry, in a way that almost defies analysis. It is technically simple. 3 chords, a melody that moves like a slow creak. Lyrics built entirely from nature imagery, a whippoorwill, a midnight train, a falling star, a robin that weeps. No explanation, no self-pity, just the physical world, described perfectly, doing what grief does.
The silence of a fall.
Bob Dylan called it the most haunting song he ever heard. Johnny Cash named it the most powerful song ever written. Elvis Presley performed it live. Countless artists, country, folk, rock, jazz, have recorded it.
Silence of a falling star.
The B-side that became the most covered song in country music history. The song written by a man who died before he could know it would outlive him by decades, by centuries most likely. He was 25 years old when he wrote it. He described loneliness the way a painter describes light, not by explaining it, but by showing you exactly where to look.
Lights up a purple sky.
There is one song left on this list, and if you've heard it, you already know why it's here. If you haven't, nothing I say will prepare you. If you're still here and these songs mean something to you, maybe they're taking you somewhere. Maybe they're reminding you of someone. Subscribe. And here is the number 1 on my list.
I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Number 1, The House That Built Me. Miranda Lambert, 2010.
I know they say you can't go home.
Tom Douglas and Alan Shamblin wrote The House That Built Me in 2005. It sat in a drawer for 4 years. They pitched it to artists. Artist after artist passed. The song was considered too personal, too vulnerable, too quiet.
I just had to come back one last time.
A slow, reflective ballad about going home. Not triumphantly, but desperately. Like a person searching for a piece of themselves they can't find anywhere else.
Lips are mine. Up those stairs.
Miranda Lambert heard it and said she had written it, or might as well have. She fought for it. Her label was uncertain. She was known for fire and grit, for electric guitars and take no prisoners attitude. A song this delicate seemed like a risk.
Favorite dog is buried in the yard.
It debuted in 2009. It went to #1 in 2010, spending 3 weeks there. And then the awards happened. CMA Song of the Year, CMA Single of the Year, CM Single of the Year, Grammy nomination, 4 major awards for a song that had sat in a drawer for 4 years because nobody wanted to record it.
If I could just come in, I swear I'll leave.
But none of that is why it's #1. It's #1 because of what it does to people who hear it. Not fans of country music specifically, people. People who grew up in small houses that smelled like coffee and old wood. People who left somewhere and never entirely came back. People who understand, deep in a way that resists explanation, that a place can be a person. That home is not geography, but the version of yourself that was formed before you knew you were being formed. The house that built me, Lambert sings. Not the house I grew up in, not the house I remember, the house that made me.
It's like I'm someone else. I thought that maybe I could find.
The song that sat in a drawer for 4 years, the song nobody wanted to record, the song that made millions of people pull out their phones and call their mothers. That's #1.
Like I'm someone else. I thought that maybe I could find my.
Is there any songs you wished was part of the list? Drop it in the comment and see you on the next one.
If I could walk around, I swear I'll leave.